This is the Bonus Section Podcast, episode number 88. Is your attention really yours? Are you the type of person that knows you are meant for something greater in this lifetime, and that somewhere inside of you, there's just this bigger version of yourself trying to break through? But in spite of all your self-development, you just can't seem to find the way up there towards that goal? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Bonus Section and the host of this podcast, and a person just like you, trying to learn how to live the most fulfilling life possible. Now, to help you take immediate action, if you want to take immediate action and get moving in a better direction, we take all the notes from each episode and we post them for a short period of time over freethinkingtools.com, because that's what they are. Notes are free thinking tools. You can listen to the podcast, you can read, and that's one of the best ways to provoke thought and then come out with action steps, right? All right, so let's get after this. Is your attention really yours? The first thing I did when thinking about this subject here today was I went and Googled I know it sounds ridiculously simple, but I Googled the definition of attention. And it said, notice taken of something or someone. So notice taken. So in other words, we're taking notice of something or someone somehow. And we have all these sensory perceptions, but especially here you are today, you might be auditorily listening, okay? And you're taking auditory attention of what I'm saying. You might be watching this on YouTube or some other channel. So visually. And then maybe you're in a place where it's kinesthetic. Just say you're in a room with a bunch of people or at an event and you're taking notice of something or someone, a sign, a table, somebody speaking, somebody talking to each other, people watching stuff, right? So that's what attention is. But the second point I think is really important. Are you even conscious of what grabs your attention? Are you even conscious of what grabs your attention? And the answer is probably no, right? Because what happens to us is that as we're just going through life, we're running mostly on the subconscious. Let me prove this too, okay? Most of you that have been out there driving for a very long period of time, can you really tell yourself how you got from A to Z in a car ride? No, you can't. So you weren't really completely attentive to everything. And I know a lot of you cheaters are out there looking at your cell phone or maybe watching a video in slow traffic, hopefully, and not at all. But you're out there and there are a variety of things happening. But you're such a good savvy driver that you're using really autopilot or your subconscious. I mean, you talk about Elon Musk trying to use all of these autopilot and artificial intelligence techniques and technologies to drive a car. Well, you're already basically doing it with your own subconscious. We're trying to approximate what the brain actually is capable of. So there are a lot of times we're going through this trance-like state in the entirety of our day, in the entirety of our life. I mean, think about it. If you've done a job for a long time, are you really conscious of everything that's happening? I bet you're thinking about all sorts of other things while you're actually accomplishing the job. So for me, one of the things I started to do was try to stop. And you hear all this stuff, be present, be in the moment. Well, what does that mean? Well, I think it means just stop to try to be conscious and maybe do a quick rewind and a relook. What did I just do? And you become conscious of it. So that a whole day doesn't slip by where unconsciously or subconsciously you were going through life, right? I like subconscious because you're still not running into traffic. I suppose if you're unconscious, you can get yourself into some pretty big trouble. But the subconscious is running a lot, and it's really an amazing thing. I mean, I'm overwhelmed by what my subconscious can do now that I understand it. Thanks to the work of people like Maxwell Maltz and psychocybernetics and many others, I became aware that my subconscious was a programmable tool. And when you're trying to program something or make change, it's good to become conscious of that thing, because then you could become aware of why you don't have what you want. And that's where we segue a little bit here. But once you become conscious of what you're attentive to, here's the question. Are you an attention addict? Because remember, the subject of this podcast is your attention really yours? So if you're an addict to something, there's probably a supplier, right? Think about that. I know that goes pretty dark pretty quickly, but think about it. We have a cell phone these days that is unbelievably powerful. And there is a lot that goes on that cell phone fighting for your attention. A lot. We have apps galore. And of course, the big dogs, who are the best at getting your attention with visual medium, are really good at what they do. And are they nothing more than pushers who are trying to make your attention theirs? Let that sink in for a second. I'm not here. I use all these apps, but I try to be attentive to how I can use them productively, but I'm just like any of you. I can find myself scrolling one of the hottest apps and disappear into an hour, and I'm telling you in that hour, that attention is not mine. It's the apps. It's the companies. It's all of the marketers who buy time on there, trying to sell me something, trying to grab my attention. And there's a lot of competition for my attention, and so is for yours, right? It is the same for all of us. So now here we have this day. We just recognize that a lot of us are going through it subconsciously, and we're not really conscious of what we're attentive to. The next thing you know, we're on these apps, and we're way upriver. And what we've done is we've eaten up a bunch of time. And the cool thing about my Apple phone, per se, is there is a section in there that tells me what I was doing on my phone. So it's trying to help me be at least conscious of what I'm doing with that. And, there is some fighting and back and forth between the phone producer. At least Apple has some philosophical concept of, what good attention is and bad, because they're worried about privacy and they're worried about all that sort of thing. And, again, they're still a profit-driven company. I get it, and one of the best at that, by the way. And it is the medium upon which a lot of this attention grabbing takes place. But there are tools that you can help yourself realize, are you an attention addict to things that aren't productive for you, that aren't fulfilling for you? Let that sink in. See, as a coach for a long time, one of the main subjects that comes up all the time as a challenge is time management. I hear it all the time. People complain to me about time management. Now, in the context of my business, which is in real estate, I run a real estate company and I coach real estate agents within the company and just as a coach. And you'll see people that are new to something don't know what to do with the time. They just don't know how to do something, what to do. They don't know any of that. So they need to be taught. So that's a time management issue. But as you become competent at something and some things, go along, you get bored with it. Some of it, is too hard, or you get bored, or whatever it is, and you become vulnerable in those moments, even though you want what that business or that passion or whatever it is you're working on, even though you want the result of that thing, whether it's a sport or whatever, it's pretty easy to stop, because when you're pursuing a goal, it's hard work. And it requires a lot of attention, and the brain burns down, and the animal brain wakes up, and the animal brain says, let's just go do something to kill some time. This is too much work. Let's shut it down. And so you go over and you start scrolling on an app, and next thing you know, I suppose the dopamine or the oxytocin or whatever, serotonin, whatever is actually triggering, it makes you feel good or relax, and you're no longer feeling the pain of working towards the goal. That's a problem, isn't it? Right? I'm not saying from time to time it's not fine, but what happens if you become an addict? What happens if the time goes from 15 minutes to an hour to 2 hours? Now you're delving into your sleep time. Now you're waking up all cranky. You see what I'm saying? You can go down this slippery slope because of your attention being owned by somebody else very quickly. So what's the bonus section tip here this week? How do you get out of all this? Well, to control your attention, I believe, in my experience and in coaching other people, it's to control your attention by setting a clear goal to attend to what you love, okay? So I'm not just saying set a clear goal to get what you want, or I'm actually using the word attention. And the reason I say what you love is because if you don't love it, it's easier to let somebody else distract you and win your attention to procrastinate and do whatever on their app or in their world or to their agenda, whatever, because you're just easily led away because you're not in love with what you're doing. You're not pursuing something or someone that you love. You're not. You're involved in something where you're vulnerable, like a flock of sheep in the middle of the night when the fence breaks and you start to wander outside that fence. And all of a sudden you find out there are a lot of wolves out there. And they got you now. And so the way to really, really help yourself away from getting, your attention stolen is to really say, okay, what is this thing that I want? What's the clear plan? And that's the hard part. I know. Like, what's the clear plan to get it? I want to be a professional this, or I want to be great business at this. I get it's a lot easier said than done because I do it. It's hard. It's hard work to try to figure out if you want to become something, to try to figure out how to go from where you're at today to that thing is not easy. It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of studying of a lot of people. And like I said, these days you go on YouTube or, Google search, or you go to the library, you go to the bookstore, and you're trying to learn and find a plan or a wireframe for something. It's not easy. And while you're looking through all that, you're burning calories in the brain. The animal brain's getting a little exhausted. And guess who comes along? The wolves looking for your attention. And you're off of it quickly. But again, if you can attach to the regret, okay, the regret you will feel if you don't continue to push towards what you love, attach to that, because that's self-inflicted pain. Right? If you know that there's an arduous, difficult path to pursue what you love, and you just fall in love with the process of getting after that, and that in of itself gives you really good positive brain feedback and chemical blend and all that good stuff, right? I know that from personal experience. Every time I'm pursuing something that matters to me, even if I feel a little frustrated, tired, exhausted, I still feel good. Because I'm feeling the positive chemical addiction that's happening in my brain as I make progress towards that goal, and I become less susceptible to these other things. And then all of a sudden I want to fill more of my time up pursuing it, because I'm becoming addicted to the pursuit and the love of this other thing, not this no-brain thing that's stealing my attention. I own it now, and it's working, and it feels good. So controlling your attention starts with setting a goal that you can attend to, bring your attention to, but it better be a goal around something that you love, okay? So let me go back and hit these bullet points. Is your attention really your own? Is it yours? And the first point was, let's define attention, because I like to keep things simple in my brain. Attention as defined is the notice taken of something or someone. So you're noticing something or someone. That's what it is. And certainly the second point here is important. Are you conscious of what grabs your attention? In other words, are you conscious of what you're noticing? Are you conscious? Or is it just happening at a subconscious level where you're not aware? Become aware. Stop yourself. Become conscious throughout the day and maybe write it down. What was I taking notice of? Who did have my attention? For how long? Third point, because that'll answer the question for you, are you an attention addict? In other words, your attention negatively strewn in a direction that is not important to you. And that's not adding any value to your life. They just own your attention, and they're dumbing you down, and perhaps in the long run even causing stress because you're not living a fulfilled life, because so much of your time is going to this no-brain stuff. So the bonus section of the Bonus Section podcast this week is, in order to stop that addiction to the wrong type of attention and make your attention your own, it's best to set a goal to attend to with consciousness that you love. Pursue something you love. Let me summarize it by saying, many people, a lot of them, fret over the lack of time to go after what they want. However, the question deeper than that, right? In other words, why does that happen? Well, the question deeper than that is, what are you focusing your attention on? Once you become conscious of that, you'll see that most likely someone, some company, some app, or some marketer actually owns a large chunk of your attention, not you. The way out is to become strongly and emotionally attached to what you love the most. Think about that thing you love the most, and then consciously attend to that until you're less vulnerable to the attention master manipulators. All right, remember, you can take immediate action to get moving towards your goals because we take all the notes from each episode and we post them at freethinkingtools.com, and we give you instant access, okay? Just a couple weeks of notes over there that match up with the latest podcast. Sit down somewhere, please, and think and write and get this stuff out of your head. That's how a good plan starts. Also, don't forget, of course, you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen, and it syndicates. We also post our content on YouTube. Get over there. Support us over there. So look for the bonus section channel over on YouTube, and you'll see all the video versions over there too. So if you're working out or you're going for a walk and you want to listen to this stuff to stimulate thought, that's what I do in the gym. I listen to all of the things that matter to me to help me pursue what I love in the gym while I'm working out. It's a double whammy, working on that brain while I'm working on that body. Right? We'd also appreciate it if you would join our mission of becoming people for others and share our content with other people just like you so that they get the help that they need. But remember this, we sign off the bonus section podcast the same way every time. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody. So go get to work on yourself and a better plan for your goals. And we'll see you in the next episode to help you, to inspire you, to push you to do just that. Thanks.